There is one more thing. It's been emotional.
Shh. Spoilers ahead. Hello everybody and welcome to Cinemattraction. I'm Heat Guy Jay and along with me as always is Cold to the Bone
John.
I thought you were going to say Snatch. Do we know anything about Guy Ritchie?
Guy Ritchie, he's married to Madonna.
He married Madonna.
Yeah, good
Yeah,
man.
what do we really know about Guy Ritchie?
Is he elusive?
Apart from he is a guy. And
he's quite Ritchie.
He's quite Ritchie. And he is called Guy Ritchie and he has some children with Madonna, doesn't he?
Lucky him.
Yeah.
Imagine being married to Madonna.
I know.
That's amazing.
I would have liked... Yeah, but I would have wanted Madonna like... sort of late 20s, early 30s. I would have wanted Sean Penn's Madonna. You know what I mean?
You like that particular. I like
Yeah, I would have preferred Sean Penn's Madonna rather to
any era Madonna. I think is
Would you like this era?
Well, any era Madonna.
You know, Madonna that can't work TikTok.
Right.
It's really awful because people are kind of taking the mickey out of her online, and if you think about it, she's an elderly woman now, right? So they're you know, for lack of a better word, taking the piss out of an old lady that can't work new technology.
Fine. To be honest, I struggle with some things myself nowadays, so it's all good.
So do I.
So, what have you been watching recently?
What have I been watching? Well, I watched both of these films. I haven't really been watching many. I did watch. Colour Out Space. I watched. Rewatched that.
Yeah, that's
love
a good
that
one.
film.
Yeah, good one.
Really love that film. I really like the story of Colour Out Space. So, and obviously with Nick Cage in it, going.
Are you a fan of like Lovecraft's?
I like
writing?
his. No, I haven't really read any of his writing, but
Okay.
I do like his stories that I've seen sort of converted. Onto
Yeah,
the
he's
screen
a hell
and
of a
stuff.
writer. Not the biggest fan of him as a personality. He was a horrible piece of work.
Right.
But his writing is
Yeah.
just fantastic. His stories are amazing.
Yeah, Ready Player One I revisited, which I realised I liked a lot less.
I liked it a lot less the second time.
Yeah,
I thought it was
recently when I
really,
watched
really
it,
annoying.
I had previously given it like 5 stars, but when I watched it, there was a lot of bits that I sort of picked up and sort of thought, oh, these bits are really cheesy and awful, and they don't need to be in this film. And yeah, maybe I'm getting critical like you. You know what I mean? I'm getting old and cynical.
I saw Oppenheimer, which was good.
Yes.
I've been watching films in advance of future episodes,
Right,
so
okay.
I've been a very good boy.
Can I just
mainly
say
because I'm about to go travel around a lot and watch a load of gigs, so I'm not
Right.
going to have time to do
Okay,
all that stuff.
so you've watched them in preparation.
In preparation,
Yeah.
because I know I'm going to have time.
Yeah.
WWE added a bunch of historical classic main events to their YouTube channel.
Okay.
And I've been watching various Royal Rumbles. So
I used to love the Royal Rumble.
You get the main event, you don't get the full card. So you don't
No.
get the matches before the Royal Rumble.
Right.
But you get, so like in WrestleMania, you'll get a main event for WrestleMania, not
Yes.
the actual full WrestleMania.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's what they've added.
Right.
I've written notes about this,
Yeah.
Jayson. I have seen 1992, Ric Flair won it. 1997, Stone Cold cheated to win it.
Yes.
2008, John Cena won it. 2013, John Cena won it again. And 2017, where Randy Orton won it, he's very bland.
Right.
Would you like to know what I've learned?
Right. Oh, about Randy Orton?
About Royal Rumbles.
Yes, I would like to.
Because I've written notes.
Oh, have you got statistics for it?
I've got
maybe? Yeah?
I've got notes.
Okay.
I wrote notes about
Oh,
this,
okay.
Jayson. I've been watching these before going to bed. So this is really on my mind.
I think I want to watch them now on YouTube. I love
Okay.
wrestling, especially old stuff.
I have learned Chris Jericho is the greatest Royal Rumbler.
Okay, I wouldn't doubt that. He's
He's-
one of the greatest wrestlers. So.
He's really good. He's typically a starter, and he tends to endure for half of it.
Yes.
He'll go in right at the beginning, and he'll be in there for a while.
Shawn Michaels used to do that as well. Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Great stamina on the land.
Yeah.
His choice of black trunks aren't really doing him any justice, aren't really complimenting him.
Mm-hmm.
And he has very old man, wiry hair.
You talking about Chris Jericho?
Chris Jericho has bad old man hair. I suspect there's a weight limit on the ring.
Yes, probably.
You rarely have two or I call them massive lads. I don't know who half of these wrestlers are.
Okay.
They're just massive lads. You
Yeah.
get the
Big-
smaller lads, the athletic lads, the massive lads, right?
Yeah.
You rarely have two or three massive lads in there at once.
No. No, Undertaker doesn't have like a lot of big people like him in
Not
there.
typically.
Usually. No, when he gets in
not
there.
typically. A massive lad will be sent over the top rope to make way for another massive lad to enter, which
Yes.
I think is quite funny. Wrestlers appear to tire really quickly.
I know they do. They really do.
The 2017 Rumble had a 100-meter entrance walk. You know,
Right.
the walk-up thing where you come out...
Which Rumble was this?
The 2017 one.
Right, I wouldn't have seen this one.
I can't remember where that one was.
I stopped watching wrestling around sort of 2005.
Well, you better get back on the game.
We need to
back
get
on
back.
my horse,
Oh,
Jason.
are we doing a
We could do
WWE
a W-
podcast?
we could
That
do a
would be
wrestling one
brilliant.
if you
I'd
wanted
love to
to.
do that.
So the 2017 one had
Yes.
I think about 100-meter entrance
Right.
walk-up.
So a nice long...
A really long walk-up.
Yeah.
And the lads are knackered by the time they reach
They're like,
the ring.
that's been a country mile I've had to walk.
But I know it's the same pattern. A new lad will enter the ring. There's a furious burst of energy where they punch like 2 or 3 of the competitors who are already in the ring before being reined in and knocked back themselves. Then they go into a corner or into the ropes with another competitor to catch their breath.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
And then-
Hanging in
and
the
then-
corner and stuff.
It's like clockwork. And then it's 90 seconds, then another one comes in and does exactly the same.
Because there's not a lot of wrestling moves in the Rumbles either,
No,
is there?
you can't
It's
be
all
technical.
punching.
Yeah,
It's all
you can't-
punching and kicking
And
and,
then it's just, I'm going to stand with you
gonna
in the corner and
throw
try
you
and
off
throw
the
you
ropes.
over.
Yeah.
And nobody ever goes over from the corner.
No. No. You can never get anybody. No. Loads of people have always tried like to get Shawn Michaels over the top rope in the corner. It never happens.
The 2008 Royal Rumble is the best and worst that I've seen.
Right.
So far. It's in New York, and John Cena is the last one to be introduced, and he winds up winning it. I think he
Right. Is
carries
this at Madison Square Garden?
I believe so.
Yeah.
He has like a pectoral injury or something like that. He was
Right.
the last one to be introduced,
Okay.
and he wound up winning it. So there's a final 3. This amused me. There's a final 3 of John Cena, Triple H, and Batista.
Right. Fantastic. Yeah, great.
That's pretty cool.
That's a great final 3.
And they're all standing in like a triangle,
Right.
And they each take turns to do their respective battle cry gesture gimmicks at them.
Oh,
so
they
John
don't.
Cena does the thing, and Triple H does the thing,
Does like a crotch chop or
and
something,
so
yeah.
on, and it's hilarious.
Batista says, "I've been in Guardians of the Galaxy."
The entrance run up is maybe 10 meters,
Right.
so they aren't completely knackered by the time they enter the ring. Roddy Piper
Right.
is a surprise competitor, and he's fantastic. Well, of course,
He always
he's
was,
fantastic.
so,
He's one of the
yeah.
greats. 2 surprise competitors, Roddy Piper and Superfly Jimmy Snooker.
Oh my god! How
is
old
the
is
other.
he now?
Well, that's the thing. The lad can barely fit into his costume, and it appears like he's struggling to walk, which is really awkward.
That's sad.
He's just doing chops on people,
Yeah.
and it's really awkward.
Yeah.
So there's a competitor named, I don't know these people, I'm just watching them because I think it's quite
Well,
amusing.
Jimmy Snooker was kind of on his way out when I started to get into wrestling in the early 90s.
Yeah, when I was watching him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was getting to be sort of legend Jimmy Snooker then.
He can
So he
barely
must be
walk.
ancient by this time.
Yeah, he can barely fit in his costume, he can barely
Yeah.
walk. There's a competitor named Hornswoggle. Okay, well, he's a lad with dwarfism.
Okay.
He's announced.
Oh yes, I think I have heard of him.
He comes rushing out.
Yeah.
He comes rushing out, and it cuts to him sort of seeing that there's a whole ring full of massive lads
Right.
waiting to tear him to pieces, and he immediately hides under the ring for like a third of the match.
Oh, do you know this would anger me as a wrestling fan watching this.
I had not heard of Hornswoggle before this, and his gimmick is that he's Vince McMahon's illegitimate son.
I didn't know that.
It's just, if you're going to watch any of these, watch the 2008
This sounds
one.
really, this is a real farce, isn't it?
So I've also, Peak of the Week is Swans put out a new album recently, and it's amazing. It's called The Beggar, and there's a song on there that's 43 minutes long.
Really?
Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels is a British comedy crime drama written and directed by Guy Ritchie. A critical and commercial success, taking $28 million gross from a $1.25 million budget. I guess we're talking
This was
dollars,
98,
but
wasn't it?
But it's British pounds.
Yeah, but this was 98 anyway, so...
A cultural phenomenon upon its 1998 release. Fresh, funny and quintessentially British. I chose these films because we haven't really covered anything British. in
No,
this
yeah, it's
podcast,
nice
so I
to
thought it'd be quite nice
do
to
a bit of
do
variety,
so.
innit?
Spawning all manner of lesser imitators, a 7-episode television series and launching the careers of Guy Ritchie and Jayson Statham.
I didn't know there was a television series.
Neither did I.
No,
Neither did
I never came on my radar.
It's on IMDb where I pulled this information.
Oh, okay.
A quick synopsis. Long-time friends Eddie, Soap, Tom and Bacon gather £100,000 so that card-sharp Eddie can enter one of gangland tyrant Hatchet Harry's high-stakes card games. The game is completely rigged, which leaves Eddie and his friends ultimately owing Hatchet Harry 500 grand. And Harry tasks vicious debt collector Big Chris to ensure the group pay up within a week. Eddie's group overhear that their awful taxi front thief neighbours are plotting to rob a local drug farm, forming a plot to rob them upon their return, which is pretty clever. Tom visits shady Nick the Greek to buy some weapons, ultimately acquiring some antique and very valuable stolen shotguns. Nick is tasked to sell the horrible stolen drugs to violent gangster Rory Breaker, who suspects the horrible drugs he is being sold have come from the drugs farm that he actually owns, and he's not very happy about it. I ain't happy! Rory and his boys soon find out who robbed his growers. It's those horrible neighbours, led by a psychotic scumbag named Dog. And Dog discovers that Eddie and his group have robbed them, are the ones who robbed them. A massive shootout ensues at Eddie's. Dog escapes with the antique guns, but is soon relieved of them by Big Chris. A big old push and pull unravels involving Dog, Chris, his son Little Chris, Hatchet Harry, and the original themes of the antique guns, until the guns wind up in the possession of Eddie, who tasks Tom to dispose of them. The film ends on a cliffhanger when Eddie, Soap and Bacon discover how much those guns are really worth and desperately try to call Tom to stop him from slinging them into the Thames. What do you think of Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels?
Living in America.
There's 2 James Brown songs in this.
There's nothing wrong. I'm concerned. I'm going to get a tattoo of. I'm concerned there's nothing wrong.
Oh, God.
I don't like this film very much. I'm going to be honest, I don't like the colour of the film.
Okay, well,
That's the first problem.
I suspected you'd hate the aesthetic of this.
The aesthetic of the film I do not like. I don't like that sort of
aesthetic to Snatch as well.
Not really, no, I don't think so.
Pretty gloomy.
It's not. It's gloomy, but like Snatch is gloomy, but this is like sepia gloomy. It's not. I just don't like the sepia look.
I don't like how it looks.
I don't really like the actors in it, apart from, I mean, obviously I love the Staith. That goes without saying, but I don't really like the other actors that much.
Okay.
So I didn't, and especially don't like Jayson. I'm not particularly a fan of Jayson Fleming, and he tended to be one of the main characters.
Okay, I think he's quite good. I think he's really good in Snatch.
I thought he was better in Snatch because he was in hardly any of it. That's why
he didn't say anything.
That's why you said he was better.
Okay.
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of, I don't know, a little bit. It's
a bit convoluted.
Yeah, it is convoluted. And I just didn't find myself enjoying it. And that's not because, obviously, this isn't my kind of film, because when I put Snatch on, I was thinking, I've never seen Snatch, so I thought, oh, well, Snatch was the film you made after, so maybe it's very similar to that one. Yeah. And when I put it on, I was, quite surprised and delighted that it wasn't like his first one. So
I think the Snatch is obviously made after this. It's very similar to this, but it's a better film.
Yeah, just a better film. Yeah. And I just didn't. I don't know. A lot of the characters I didn't really feel anything for.
Okay.
Because it was all just really about money, wasn't it?
I think the characterizations are really thin and basic. You could argue that they're basically all the same character.
Well, there's no
they
real.
All speak the same.
Yeah.
They've got their own different motivations. Yeah. Depending on which group they're working with, for instance. Yeah. But they're basically the same character. They'll talk the same. Yeah. There's no females.
No, there's not.
There's not really any female, apart from like Mickey's mum and the girl at the bookies. There's not really any females. In Snatch
the girls. Yeah, the girls. There's the 2 twins, isn't there? In Snatch?
Oh, yeah. Even so, they're not really.
Not a lot.
Not key characters.
No. In fact, I'm trying to think of a woman in Snatch.
I forget what her name is. There's a lady in the card game.
Yes, there is, and she tells them to behave themselves, doesn't she? Yeah.
Behave.
She had that sort of, all right, boys, I'm not taking any crap from you.
Indeed. Yeah, I get what you're saying. It is style over substance.
Yeah. Yeah.
For a low budget production, they give it a really gritty aesthetic, and they compensate for compensate for dynamic camera movements with some really, really good, skillful and creative editing choices.
I do understand that obviously this was Guy Ritchie's first film, wasn't it? So obviously...
The first feature, yeah. I don't know if he did
so
anything
obviously
before
as, a director or an artist goes on, they hopefully get better at their craft.
I think he has.
I think he has, yeah. But I don't want... I mean, one of the things, he's made a lot of sort of very big, production like Disney as Aladdin and stuff like that.
I think he's doing Aladdin too as well.
I would like to see him not really do stuff like that. I'd like to see him go back more to what he does
I think he
best.
juggles that. He appears to juggle that sort of stuff. So he is doing Aladdin, but he's also doing, say...
It just feels really incongruous, the fact that, like, Guy Ritchie and Aladdin together,
It's very odd, yeah.
Yeah, it's a strange pairing, isn't it?
But he is doing this little gangster stuff in...
Oh, he's still doing it?
Yeah, he's doing it. I think he did The Gentleman, then he did Aladdin, or vice versa.
I liked The Gentleman. I thought the Man of Wrath, I thought was brilliant.
It seems okay.
I really liked that one.
Really, really like The Man from U.N.C.L.E. That's a really, really good little spy film.
One of my other ones is Rock and Roller. I really like.
The film was filmed on Ariflex 16 SR2 with Eastman Kodak 60mm and 1.85 to 1 aspect ratio, which was then distributed on 35mm for cinemas. And such. Which is probably why it looks so grainy.
Yeah, doesn't look good.
I believe there are a mix of elements used as well, so the slow motion stock would be likely different.
Yeah.
And there are some digital assets in this film as well. I don't have that.
I
don't know what that is.
My problem is that I do like really nice looking films.
Right.
I can be a bit of a snob. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want as glossy as Zack Snyder's films.
If anything, I'm quite the opposite. I quite like.
Yeah, I mean, but I do like a little bit of.
I understand what you mean. You want a bit of production value.
Yeah.
But I personally am not really enjoying those Marvel films because they look too pristine.
Right. Yeah.
It is also really, really. It is a convoluted film.
Yeah.
There's a sort of Tarantino vibe to this, I thought.
Well, it's weird you should talk about that because I actually feel like Snatch is a bit like Guy Ritchie's Pulp Fiction, very much so. Like similar, not that they're the same in it, but it's got the same kind of vibe to it. Yes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in a way, this kind of was his Reservoir Dogs, because Reservoir Dogs was very stripped down.
Yeah, that might have also been on Eastman Kodak.
Right. Well, there you go. So.
Lots of fast-talking, colourful characters and various violent beats. But he puts a sort of British... It's kind of what I wanted to do. He puts a very British spin on this, or specifically a sort of East London spin on this, which I quite like.
I do like that.
I think it helps to have the Alan Ford's narration on it.
Alan Ford is the one who plays
Bricktop. He's also one of the barmen at his bar. JD's bar.
Oh, I do like him. I just love his...
We'll talk about him maybe a bit more in Snatch, but his narration in this, not only has he got the perfect cadence for this, but his narration helps because it does get...
Yeah, it gives it that real British feel, doesn't it?
For sure, yeah, but it does untangle how convoluted it is at times.
Right, yeah. Helps the viewer navigate it.
It's a bit of a tangle in the third act where you've got... Rory and his gang and Dog and his gang.
I got a little bit mixed up.
It's
when
a bit
I was
of a
watching
tangle.
that. Yeah.
And the Scouse thieves and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I didn't like them.
But all the whole time you've got Eddie doing his thing, you've got Hatchet Harry and Barry the Baptist doing their thing, and it becomes a bit of a tangle.
Yeah.
And I think having Alan Ford's fantastic narration does help.
Yeah.
On that note, I think our overseas viewers might need subtitles for this film.
What do you mean for some of the Cockney?
For the Cockney.
Yeah, for the Cockney people.
Well, I think you and I were fine watching this respectively. But
not too bad.
I think some overseas viewers, there is literally a scene where you've got Danny John Jules explaining about Roy Breaker setting somebody on fire.
In the pub, wasn't it?
And it is literally subtitled.
Yeah.
Because they use a load of Cockney rhyming slang, which is glorious. This was a cultural phenomenon when it was released.
Right.
Right on the cusp of the end, I suppose, of Cool Britannia, if you remember.
Yes, with Oasis.
Where
and
Britpop was
that.
popular.
Yeah.
When New Labour came into power and ushered out...
we had the Spice Girls as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This film, I think, followed the success of Danny Boyle's Trainspotting, which is it was a very vibrant time to live in Britain, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Do you have fond memories of that period?
That
was a really cool time to be alive.
Yeah, I think I do. I do remember that, like around sort of 97, 98 and all that sort of time.
Mid-90s.
Yeah, the mid-90s, 96.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I love the 80s and I do love the 90s as well. More towards the sort of earlier part of the 90s I loved.
So you weren't really...
I wasn't
the
really
kind of cool
great deal.
Britannia-
Not really. I wasn't
No?
a great deal in that. No,
Okay.
I did find the Spice Girls quite annoying because I had to
everybody did.
see them a lot.
Sure,
It wasn't because I had anything against them.
No, but they were everywhere. weren't they?
Yeah.
But it was quite cool. I didn't know if you had any good memories of that era or anything like
I
that.
don't really remember that much of that sort of. All I remember is the last part of the 90s. I just remember waiting for the Phantom Menace to come out.
Okay.
So that's all I was basically doing, waiting for Star Wars to come out.
Okay, fair enough. It's really funny. There are some really funny situations. I'll be careful with my language, but Hatchet Harry beating that guy to death with the marital aid
Yes.
is particularly funny.
That was funny. Very funny.
Um,
Marital aid.
well, I want to keep this as PG as possible with great respect. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
There's a bunch of recurring gags, such as Tom being fat,
Yes.
Roy Breaker's coffee table, which I think is quite funny.
Oh, that's hilarious when he keeps dropping it through.
It is, there's some amazing quotes in this film as well. Again, the characterizations are really thin, but everybody speaks the same.
I think
There are
everybody
some great
remembers,
lines.
what's his name? Vinnie Jones saying it's been emotional.
It's been emotional. It's great to see Vinnie Jones in this.
It
as well.
is, it is.
We'll maybe talk about that in a second. But their favourite quote is, "Hatchet Harry, you must be Eddie JD's son. You must be Harry. Sorry, I don't know your father." Oh, brutal. It's really violent. The shootout in the drug farm is amazing, I thought.
Yeah.
With the
No,
slow-mo stuff.
Yeah, that was good, yeah.
As is the shootout at Eddie's, I think. Is
Yeah,
pretty
I mean,
incredible.
Guy Ritchie does do
On a
action
budget.
really well.
Yeah, on a budget.
Yeah.
They had nothing.
That's one thing I do like about Guy Ritchie. He does do some really good camera shots.
Yes.
Yeah.
And some really good editing where he compensates perhaps not having the ability to do some really dynamic camera stuff and some really
Decent needle drops and things like that.
well, maybe, yeah,
I mean, especially in Snatch, I thought.
but probably better again is I think Snatch is a better film.
Yeah.
With great respect, this was made on a tenth of what this was.
Yeah.
So. Dog. The one I keep resonating with the one that keeps resonating with me is Dog with the golf. He's hitting golf balls at that lad.
Oh,
and
yes, and he's going to put it in the guy's...
He's going to put this
Yeah.
off the guy, and then he switches from hitting golf balls at someone to throwing steel.
Yes.
At him, which is
I didn't really understand Dog that much. He didn't seem to have an awful lot of character, you know what I mean? He was sort of a bit of a...
psycho.
He was just a psycho villain, but he didn't really seem to have much... You know, he was a bit of a shallow character, wasn't he? Like most of them were.
Shallow characters,
Yeah.
To be fair, cartoonish maybe.
Yeah. I think a lot of the characters in Snatch are cartoony.
Yeah.
But I like that. I like
think I
that bit
prefer
about it.
that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Goofy, you know.
The gang beating up Rob Brydon, who was a traffic warden.
Oh, yeah.
Which is quite funny.
I forgot to mention Rob Brydon because I was so surprised when he turned up. I was like, oh, yes, he's in this.
Right.
I was like, I've seen this film before years ago, but I don't know whether I've known Rob Brydon more now. So I didn't know him as well back then.
Yeah.
And he's become more famous. Cause
Rob Brydon is for our overseas listeners.
Yeah.
Rob Brydon is a bit of a national treasure. I bet.
He
He's
is.
a really popular television presenter.
Welsh comedian, isn't he?
Comedian,
Presenter?
TV presenter,
Yeah.
and actor as well.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him being beaten up.
No, I don't. No, I don't want to see
But
that.
at the same time, really funny.
They should have made somebody really detestable
Instead of someone beloved.
because a traffic warden is a detestable character. You see what I mean?
Shout out to our traffic wardens listening to this podcast while doing your rounds. Love the editing. You got to talk about the editing because
Yeah.
I think the poker sequences are cut together so well, and it uses so much interesting sound design as well.
Yes.
Poker scene where the
Because poker's not an exciting thing to watch. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And he sort of makes it a little bit as exciting as you can make.
They're drinking, they're smoking, they're throwing stuff. That guy gets into a fight.
Exactly.
Brilliant. The boozy sequence where the gang robs the scumbags and then go drinking.
Yes.
And Jayson Statham's got fire coming out of his ears at one point.
That was weird, wasn't it? It was like a night of debauchery, wasn't it?
And it's so enjoyable.
Jason Fleming is sleeping on top of a piano, isn't he? Or something?
But that's the thing, though. It's such a cathartic thing as well because they've gone through such hell, and then this.
They just have a massive
and it's
blowout.
so wow.
Yeah.
I love it. Silly character nicknames.
Oh, bacon and soap.
Bacon and soap. Yeah. Some good performances, though. It's good to see Sting.
Oh, yeah.
Trudy Styler was one of the producers on this.
Oh,
So
was
I guess
she?
That's why.
Did she shoehorn him in?
It's probably a case of, like, we've got
This role.
Sting in this movie.
Yeah.
How much more money do you want to get, kind of thing. I suspect he's a bit of a draw for investors.
I love the fact he turned up because, I mean,
He's
as
a
a
big
bass
name.
player, he's somebody he's somebody I've idolised as a musician.
Yeah.
So, seeing him turn up and go, "Hello, boys, Roxanne."
That's exactly what he does.
Fantastic. That's what he does.
There are some bangers on the soundtrack.
Yes.
Would you like to talk about the soundtrack?
Yes, let's talk about the soundtrack.
James Brown turns up twice in this.
Yes. And there's all sorts of tunes that you kind of know, but you don't know. If you know, like,
Sure.
music you've heard, but you're like, oh, wow, it's that.
Fool's Gold, one of
Yes.
my favourite ever songs, appears on this. Easy Rollers, who are a local band. They're actually based here.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, do you think Statham got him in on that? That's the one. That's what I was going to say. Yeah, that's the one you
Yeah.
associate with.
I say
Lockstock,
they're based here. For our listeners, we're in Norwich.
yes,
They're
in
based
Norwich. And Jayson Statham grew up in Great Yarmouth, didn't he?
He's
I
from...
believe. Was it Great Yarmouth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a coastal hellhole.
It's like Blackpool, if anybody knows.
About 20 miles away from where we're recording this, and it's...
Sorry to all our Great Yarmouth
I have fond memories of...
listeners who John just called it a hellhole.
Well, that's the thing. I'm not the biggest fan of Great Yarmouth, but I have fond memories of playing around Great Yarmouth in my youth. And great Jason Statham's from there. I think Matthew McFadden's from there as well, isn't he? The actor?
Is he?
Yeah,
Oh.
good for him. Verdict.
Verdict. As I said, this movie really, for me, it didn't have enough to keep me. I found it slow.
I think it's a bit of a tangle. I think that's my.
I found it quite slow in parts where I felt a bit bored.
But I think the energy of the writing, some of the creative choices kind of keep my interest.
Right.
So and some of the great needle drops, some of the funny jokes, some of the kind of really twisted violence.
Yeah.
That kind of kept my.
And anything you put James Brown in has got to be a good film.
Do you want to do a James Brown impression for everybody?
Yeah, I would like to. No, I'm not. I'm out of love.
God. Okay, Snatch is a 2000 crime comedy drama written and directed by Guy Ritchie. A critical and commercial success, taking a worldwide gross of $83.5 million from a $10 million budget. You've got to think that probably some of the, like, Brad Pitt must be working for, like, scale, or must be working on a percentage or something or other.
Must be, because to have a huge star like that in it.
Brad Pitt's fee is probably more than 10 million, isn't it?
Well, I would have thought, but
Okay.
yeah.
After half-inching an 86-carat diamond during a heist in Antwerp, Frankie Four Fingers travels to London to see gravel-voiced diamond dealer Doug the Head on behalf of shady New York jeweller cousin Avi. One of Frankie's cohorts suggests that he visit his brother, a former KGB agent and arms dealer named Boris the Blade, to buy a gun for protection because he's carrying an 86-carat diamond. Of course, the cohort informs his brother Boris that Frankie is carrying a massive diamond. Meanwhile, Cockney unlicensed boxing promoter and casino... Is it casino? It's like a slot machine.
It's not
den,
really a
isn't it?
casino, is it?
But they're casino games, though, aren't they?
Yeah, they're one-on bandits, aren't they? Fruit machines.
Fruit
yeah,
machines, slot machines or whatever. Turkish is asked by psychotic gangster Bricktop to have his fighter Gorgeous George, the names, lose his upcoming fight to one of Bricktop's fighters. Though when Turkish sends his right-hand man Tommy and Gorgeous to the campsite of a community of Irish travellers to buy a caravan, George winds up being hospitalised at the hands of Irish traveller Mickey. Turkish, in a bind, winds up replacing Gorgeous with Mickey in the fight, maintaining the deal with Bricktop for Mickey to purposefully lose the match, which he doesn't. Meanwhile, Boris approaches Frankie to place a bet on this boxing match. Boris apparently cannot place a bet in this match due to some prior debts. Frankie notoriously has a gambling problem, which sees Avi panic and rushing over to London, fearing what Frankie will do. Boris hires small-time crooks and pawnbrokers Vinny and Sol to rob Frankie while he's placing the bet. It all goes to hell, and Frankie winds up kidnapped in the pawnbroker's office, where Boris kills him and makes off with the diamond. Avi and Doug hire violent enforcer Bullet Tooth Tony to retrieve the diamond, which also goes to hell. The paths of Turkish Bricktop, Avi, Boris, Tony, Salt and Vinny converge, and Mickey, whose mother was incinerated in her home by Bricktop's thugs as a consequence of his insubordination, pulls the rug from underneath all of them. What do you think of Snatch? When did you first see it?
Well, I saw it when I saw it.
This was the
I
hardest...
saw it this morning. I don't think I've ever seen Snatch before.
Oh, really?
No, I thought I'd seen it.
I thought you'd
I'm
seen
almost
it
sure
before.
I'd seen it. But
Okay.
I was watching it and I was thinking, I don't think I've seen this.
Wow.
And if I have, I don't remember any of it.
Well, grease my chain, Jayson. What do you think of Snatch?
I thought it was really good.
It is really good fun.
It's a goofy crime caper, but there's a lot of really cartoonish bits, like where like Boris gets on the phone and he's like saying, "I've got this information for you," and you're like, "This is so silly and cheesy," but I
really
like
silly.
it. I really like it.
Yeah, it's fun.
And when I saw, to be honest, at the beginning of the film, when I saw Benicio as the rabbi, I thought it was hilarious. And then obviously there's the robbery with the dynamic kind of
It's really cool.
camera action.
Yeah, it's really
I thought it was fantastic.
Really intense.
Yeah,
With
really
that
intense.
Hard techno music and all that kind of stuff.
Rabbi robbery.
Rabbi robbery.
I liked the character intros as well.
Yes.
I thought that...
Come up as character cards, doesn't
Yeah, I quite like that sort of thing when you've got a cast of characters and it sort of introduces you to them. And obviously one of my favourite characters from this whole film, Frank Butcher.
Mike Reed.
Yeah. I love you, Pat. Oh, I love you, Pat.
Again, for our overseas listeners, Mike Reed was a comedian and...
Turned soap opera star.
He was in a soap opera. He was a star in a massively popular soap opera over here called EastEnders.
EastEnders, yes.
Where he was married to Fat Pat.
He was. He was married to...
Pat Butcher.
Pat Butcher.
Right.
What was her name? I can't remember the actress's name.
Something St. Clair or something?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Something like that.
But it was really nice to see him in it.
It's
'cause
great, yeah.
He has left us now, so...
He's left us. So we have... I remember 15 years ago driving home on the A11,
Yeah.
which is about a 2-hour drive.
Right.
We had a cassette deck and we bought... I didn't see it, and I think I paid for it, but I didn't see it. We went to a charity shop in this little village that we passed, or we'd been through, and we bought a Mike Reed sings Christmas songs.
Oh, no.
Or sings the hit, I think it's Christmas songs.
Oh, God.
On cassette, and we played that whole thing the whole way home.
Was it awful?
It was horrendous.
It's horrendous. Yes.
So sorry to derail.
No, that's
That was
fine.
a very fond memory of Mike Reed.
I also noticed I've never seen the guy that played Boris the Blade in anything, I think, except the homeless coke guy in Batman Begins.
Possibly. Rather...
You know where he gives him the coat and he's... And
Sabizia,
yeah, and he
his name.
goes, "That's a nice coat." That's the only where I know him from.
Bent as the Soviet sickle and hard as the hammer that crosses it. Brilliant.
I mean, that's brilliant
Why
writing,
do they call
isn't
him the bullet dodger? Because he dodges the bullets.
Bullets.
Some quality quotes
It
there.
is.
It's very similar in tone, approach, and humour, and convolutedness. I really struggled to write the synopsis of this thing, so I hope you
I did find it
bloomin' well appreciate
slightly convoluted. I think I did get the main gist of it, though.
It's pretty, yeah.
I think it's the boxing element of it is what reminds me of Pulp Fiction.
Yes.
The going down and not going down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Throwing the box in
Yeah. I loved Benicio's accent in this and his character. I just wanted more of it, though.
Yeah, it's a shame that he's not in it for much.
Yeah,
to be fair,
that
but
really- that was a
he
bit
does light up the
disappointing.
screen every time he's in
Yeah.
it. And the very strange editing choice. Oh, a really strange scene where he's getting like fitted up for different suits.
Oh yeah, and you see him in different ones.
Between sentences.
I know.
It's really weird.
I know.
I love it.
See, that's like the weird sort of zany comedy of it.
Yeah.
And I love the script. I love some of the lines in this, like when Brick, what's his name? Bricktop, yeah. He says, "You've got all the characteristics of a dog, except the loyalty, which is the main characteristic of a dog."
Indeed. It's an unlicensed boxing match. It's not a tickling competition.
Yeah.
I love this.
I just love some of the campiness. Like you see the shots
very
of
silly.
Benicio in Vegas, and I think,
Move on.
is that from Fear and Loathing? Because he was in that, wasn't he?
Yeah. Maybe. It is very Tarantino, but again, it is very British again.
Yeah.
It's Guy Ritchie's got.
And I love that. I love the whole stuff to do with like the pikeys and the dogs. Like, do you like dogs?
Indeed.
And they put a dog in to sweeten the deal.
Sweeten the deal. Why would we want a caravan that's got no wheels? Brilliant.
That's also kind of slapstick though, isn't it? As they drive away, the wheels on the caravan.
Yeah. Oh, it's very silly. The characters are really cartoony.
Yeah.
As well.
But one of my favourites, Tyrone. We need
by all means.
Right.
Please.
Tyrone squeezing out of that car in that leather jacket. The sound design is wonderful. Could you hear every little creak of that jacket?
That leather
squelches and squeezes
out of that little car, which is a stolen car.
And he's such an idiot.
Be careful on my seats.
He's such an idiot.
But he's not though. He's the MVP.
Well, I know he is, but I mean, he's not. I mean, he acts like an idiot, but he's not really. I mean, he saves the guys from the robbery, doesn't he? In that.
Yeah. But he's the MVP because he's the one who sees. He's the one who he sort of karate chops him.
Oh yeah, of course he does. Yeah.
He's like, oh, who's it? What's going on, Tyrone? He's got 4 fingers in a briefcase.
Yeah, that's true. He did,
didn't he? He's the MVP. And he saves
yeah.
them out of the bookies as well.
He did, yeah.
He's like,
he
what are you doing?
He just sees Benicio there and he just karate chops him. Like fits him in the car.
And he saves Sol and Vinny out of the bookies.
He does.
They're stuck in that little...
Yes.
In that little
thing. They can't get out.
They can't get out. He opens the door and he's like, what are you doing?
Vinny's got like his head squashed.
He's my favourite character, and yeah, of course I can. It's really violent again. And
there are elements of violence. I mean, a lot of it's physical, like punching and violence, isn't it?
There's loads of violent bits in this. The opening heist in Antwerp.
Well, yeah, it's violent, but I mean, it's not gory violent, is it?
I like how it's really, really tight, really briskly edited. I think they use super moves, don't they, by Overseer? Just
right.
that punchy.
Yeah. I don't know what the song was that they play at the end where the fight is going on, like the guitar music at the end.
Oh, it's an Oasis track. It's called "Effing in the Bushes."
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
It's not the full title.
No.
Effing is a different word.
I don't think I've ever heard that song. That's really good.
It was really good, yeah. There were some absolute bangers again on this.
And I loved seeing Brad Pitt with his Wang Fist death punch.
Okay, well, please, how do you think about Brad Pitt?
I thought Brad Pitt was really good, and I think he didn't feel like the famous person in the film. Like in The Gentleman, I would say Matthew McConaughey feels like the Hollywood man we've got to put in the film. Where he didn't feel like that. This is Hollywood Brad. He just went into the film and just into the character, and you just. I mean, if you didn't know who Brad Pitt was, you just watch it and go, "Well, who was that actor who played that sort of rough gypsy fella?"
Jason Statham's Turkish is perhaps the main star of the film. Yeah, but Brad Pitt is kind of a supporting person, which you wouldn't have thought.
You would not think that, no.
Brad Pitt's
and I thought his accent was really quite good.
Oh,
to be
his
honest.
accent's all over the place, but it
I don't really know many Irish travellers, so I couldn't really comment on if that's what they sound like.
I've met a couple in my life,
right,
and they're not like this.
Okay,
but they're still pretty indecipherable.
So we just got the main gist. Just sort of try and put on an Irish accent.
His accent is all over the place, but it is fun, and it does kind of shape his character, and I think that's kind of.
And I love his mother as well, especially when they give them, especially when they show him the picture and what's his name? Who plays Tommy?
Stephen Graham.
Yeah, Stephen Graham. He looks at it and he likes
because it's the most horrific portrait. It's Saoirse Cusack, and she's a really good actor.
Yeah, he's done really well.
Stephen Graham's a massive star.
Yeah,
he's excellent in this.
I know.
I think it might have been the first thing I've ever seen him in as well.
You think he's working with like Scorsese now?
He's doing great stuff now. I mean, he did great stuff in this, of course, but he has gone.
I mean, when I saw him in The Irishman, I literally was so excited because I was like, "It's one of our guys." You know what I mean?
Sure. It's it's particularly interesting to me because he's Scouse.
Yeah.
And he's putting on a pretty flawless East Ender Cockney accent as well, which is really impressive. Really good acting.
Yeah. I didn't think his accent was too bad in The Irishman as well. I mean, it was,
it's fine. Yeah, it's a bit janky.
Yeah.
You can hear it.
But for somebody from, as you said, who's Scouse.
So, again, for overseas listeners, you have to kind of comprehend
Liverpool.
these things. Liverpool is a very, very thick, heavy accent.
It's where the Beatles came from, everybody.
Yeah, a beautiful accent, but it's an extremely thick accent.
Yeah.
And it's very
I would think it's one of the harder ones to sort of disguise.
Very hard, yeah.
You know,
very
like,
hard one to do.
Like James McAvoy, where he disguises his very strong Scottish accent.
He's got a very heavy accent, yeah. It's much like there are some regional accents in the United Kingdom. So Geordie, for instance, is a particularly heavy accent.
Yeah.
Scouse is a heavy accent. Probably the sort of West Country Cornish
Yeah.
accents are pretty heavy.
Yeah,
And I think he does really well to do...
Yeah, I do.
Again, Cockney is a pretty heavy accent.
Yeah, yeah.
And he does it really well. Jayson Statham is fantastic in this.
Yes, yes.
And has some of the best lines.
He really shines in this. I mean, in
The
Lock, Stock, he's got this thing about the Germans, hasn't he?
The Germans. And I love his chemistry with Stephen Graham. He's fantastic. They're back
really,
and forth are really good. Dennis Farina.
Why is it I always think he's the one who gets beaten to death by Joe Pesci in Goodfellas?
Oh God, yeah, no, I can't.
Why do I always think that's him?
Frank Vincent or
I
something?
think so, but I always think that's him.
We've got a Goodfellas episode coming, so
whenever I see him, I'm always like, that's him. That's shoe shine. Go get your shoe shine box.
Get your shine box.
Yeah, go get your shoe shine.
mutt. He plays Cousin Avi.
He's very good. I do like him.
He says the F word in the most beautiful, distinctive manner. It's like velvet. It rolls off him. And I think in every scene he's in, he points at something. He's very accusatory.
Yes.
He's doing that. With every one of his lines, he's pointing at something.
He is.
Pointing at somebody.
Yeah. I just think he's hilarious at the end where he gets on the he's got anything to declare and he's like, don't go to England.
Alan Ford's returns to... There's a lot of like returning character or returning performance in this. You've got Jason Statham, you've got Jason Fleming, you've got Alan Ford.
I think directors tend to if they're happy working with, you know, you've got like Tim Burton with Johnny Depp,
for sure.
You know, Leo with Scorsese and De Niro and that.
Yeah. It's lovely to see him.
I think it's nice when they do have their own little troupe of actors that you know, because they're actors that they like to work with, that they get, obviously they must get on well together. So because he's done a lot of films with Guy Ritchie Statham, hasn't he?
Yeah,
absolutely. Nearly all of them, hasn't he? Apart from like Aladdin. Tends to be more this sort of more pristine stuff, like more Hollywood stuff.
Sure. Like
Man from U.N.C.L.E. and Aladdin and.
Did you see? I can't. Did you see Guy Ritchie at Wimbledon?
No.
He was in the audience at Wimbledon,
right
next to Brad Pitt, and the camera barely moved off Brad Pitt. You could have not have known that Guy Ritchie was next to him because it was just on Brad Pitt. That's kind of funny. So anyway, Alan Ford's Bricktop is probably my favourite performance in the film.
Yes. Does he wear false teeth?
I don't know.
It's just he has a little bit of a whistle, a little bit of a sort of... Feels like his mouth's full sometimes when he talks.
Yeah, maybe.
But yet his teeth look normal. Do you know what I mean? They look like normal teeth.
Could just be the way he speaks.
But it could be, yeah. But I think he is brilliant. I love his speech about the pigs.
Terrifying in this.
He is absolutely terrifying, especially
You know what nemesis means.
Yeah, and the fact when he tells them about how to like chop the people up and the pig, and then Vinny basically just turns around and goes, "Yeah, but who the f are you? You all you told me is how to feed a person to a pig."
Yeah, there's a real tension in the scene where Bricktop and his minions capture Sol, Vinny and Tyrone.
Yeah.
They put the plastic up, plastic
that gets very serious.
They're about to drip dry them.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
That is really terrifying. And also the bit where Mickey's mother is murdered when she's burnt to death in a caravan.
Yeah.
I think that's really quite harrowing as well. Yeah.
In Mickey and Brad Pitt, Mickey's eyes, and his face is like,
God.
Yeah.
Which is really, it's sort of very different. It's in stark contrast to the rest of the movie. Because the rest of the movie is quite jovial and silly and goofy, and then it gets painfully serious.
It knows when to sort of twist it. Yeah. And to change the tone a wee bit.
Yeah.
The shootout in the corridor of the pub I thought is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some real tense moments in this, is what I'm saying. The fight in the bar between Mickey and Gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's really good, but it's also terrifying. He knows when to twist it, because all of a sudden Tommy is besieged by terrifying Irish travellers.
Sitting there and a little tear goes down it.
He's like,
and you're thinking, yeah, I would be doing that. I would be peeing my pants.
And he juxtaposes that with the beautiful song by the Stranglers, Golden Brown, as well.
Yeah, oh yes it is, isn't it? Yeah. So you've got that lovely sort of...
It's just a tour de force.
It is.
I think this is one of
I love the needle
movies.
drops in this. Oh, and you've got the other one, what's that? I don't like cricket.
No.
I love it. That one too.
Yeah, the various boxing sequences. I love the transition when Mickey takes a punch and falls through the canvas.
Yeah. You mean the bit where he sort of goes into the water?
Yeah. There's that kind of consciousness. He sort of falls out of consciousness by dropping. I thought that was really clever.
I like that bit. It reminded me very of Get Out.
Yeah.
You know, where he sort of goes into the sunken what do they call it? The sunken place. Yeah.
Good call.
Sure.
There are some janky moments in this. The jankiest moment is probably Bullet Tooth. Vinnie Jones was nobody's favourite footballer.
Okay.
So Vinnie Jones was a professional footballer before transitioning to acting. I think firstly with Lock, Stock. It's like, what's Vinnie Jones doing in the movie? Vinnie Jones was probably nobody's favourite footballer unless he was playing on your team. He was a horrible piece of work. A very violent, very vicious.
He was quite a sort of
tough footballer. Not really anybody's favourite footballer. And maybe not the best actor in the world. And his speech in the pub about you must be the big...
Yeah.
Oh, God, it's awful.
The ball analogy.
The genitalia analogy. Yeah,
we can say ball.
You can say ball.
Yeah, we can say ball.
Sure, I hate that. It's really cringe.
I didn't like it. I didn't see the necessity of.
But it's very Tarantino-y though, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought was also. That's why I'm getting a vibe of like a slight Tarantino vibe, which is never a bad thing.
Never a bad thing.
No. Let's talk about.
Okay, what do you want to talk about Tyrone?
Well,
steals every scene.
He's wonderful. You saw my review. Oh, Tyrone.
I did see your review earlier. Yeah.
I love the fact that everything he does causes like another problem, like he's backing into the car and...
Yeah. It was a funny angle.
It was the truck was at a funny angle.
Yeah. He was trying to reverse. It was a funny angle.
Yeah.
It's behind you, Tyrone. When you reverse, things come from behind you.
Yeah, but things just fall into like place for him, don't they?
He seems so bumbling, but he also is very acutely aware of everything going on around him.
Yeah, because he knew that him standing by the van was what's his name? Four Fingers?
Frankie
Four Fingers, yeah.
Benicio del Toro.
I think it's a really enjoyable film to watch, to be honest.
James Brown in this one.
No, that's a bit of a shame.
But there was some Madonna.
Yes, there was. There was Lucky Star. Yeah. He really liked the thingy. Bullet Tooth, what's his name? Really
love this track.
Yeah, he loves that track.
Yeah. Funny, twisting, convoluted as hell. Verdict.
This movie is big.
It is really big.
It is big. No, this movie is big.
Yeah. I actually say that. I know I just said that Vinnie Jones is pretty terrible, but he's kind of funny also as well.
Like I think he's better in this
Ewan
one.
Bremner hanging out of his car.
Yeah.
He's driving down the street with Ewan Bremner hanging out of his window.
And Cousin Harry says like, "Are we taking him with us?" And he says it in such a laid-back way, doesn't he?
He does.
Such a deadpan. Are we taking him with us?
I love the chemistry between Dennis Farina and Vinnie Jones as well. He brings a guy with him, doesn't he?
Oh yes, the other American guy who gets stabbed stabbed with the sword.
He gets stabbed
when they have the car crash.
That's the thing. I like the twist, how they all the paths converge as
well.
Yeah,
and you don't know, do you?
You just
see that happen, and then you don't know who. You just hear like a comedy in the background.
They all kind of converge really well. He chucks the milk out the window, which causes a big old crash, and then all of these lines kind of converge. I think that's really clever because they're all sort of involved.
And it's all so farcical as well.
It is very.
I mean, this is the kind of a film that you could actually make a West End show out of. Because it's so farcical, you could have people coming in and out of doors and, you know...
I'm surprised this wasn't made into a TV show instead of, like, Lock, Stock, because you could have that diamond be passed around all of these weird, wonderful characters with
or it could
names.
be anything else, you know, there could be some other MacGuffin sort of thing.
Indeed. As much as I wanted to see Turkish win, I'm glad that the little hair didn't get proppered.
I thought that cutscene was brilliant. I love that cut
With that-
scene.
yeah, yeah.
With the hare and the dogs
So
chasing.
intense, yeah.
And then you've got the two guys chasing Tyrone.
And Tyrone, yeah.
I thought that was wonderful the way they cut those together.
You
'Cause
silly fat W.
it really gave a sense of like chase and
Yeah.
speed and
Tense.
tense.
That
Yeah,
tension. I love that.
yeah.
Also, the attempted robbery at the bookies is also pretty tense. All bets are off!
Yeah, but that's what she's like. But that's what it means. All bets are off. We're not taking bets.
All bets
Yeah.
are off. If all bets are off, there can't be any money, can there? Brilliant. And then he gets
And then
there's some really
gives a
good moments
sack
in this
of,
movie.
of copper coins.
Pennies or whatever. yeah.
Pennies.
Brilliant.
That's him from what was he in? Was he in The Walking Dead or Fear the Walking Dead? I think.
Who's that?
The actor.
Oh, Vinny or Sol?
Soul. Yeah.
Lenny James.
Yeah.
I think his
I think
name
so.
is.
Yeah, I think he's done like
Not. I don't. Really
American
watch,
telly since
I
then.
don't really watch that, but yeah, he's
No.
very good. He was in Blade Runner as well, wasn't he? He was like the
Yes.
slave driver of those children.
He was the one that Kay had to give a little smack around to. He goes, oh man, doesn't he? Oh man.
Indeed. I love this film. I'd give it 4 stars every day.
Well, I'd never seen it before, so yeah, I'd definitely give it 4 stars. I thought it was really good and
Really entertaining.
really entertaining.
quotable,
And if you
tons of
like,
good moments.
and if you like Guy Ritchie's sort of crime capery sort of things, you're definitely gonna like it.
And really British.
Yeah.
Some of the sense of humour in this is so British. Again, you might need subtitles for some of this.
Depending on where you're from. I mean, I'm a good Lewisham lad.
You're from London.
I am
You
from
are,
London.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is the sort of film that you're really going to have a nice, like a fun
It's a
time
fun
watching.
time. It's a fun
Rock and
time.
Roller, I would recommend to go with this.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think Lock, Stock also goes with this, but
Yeah.
perhaps this is the better film technically.
Yeah.
I'd maybe recommend Pulp Fiction, as you think you've said.
Yeah, because there's a great there's a similarity between those two.
Yeah, and maybe something like Inherent Vice, because it's
Yeah,
kind of
maybe.
funny and weird and convoluted
Yeah.
and tangled.
I haven't watched that for years. I need to. The last time I saw that was at the cinema with you.
I've seen it a couple of times.
Oh,
like
I'm-
it. Yeah, it's a bit. It's not the best film Paul
I
Thomas Anderson's
remember.
ever
I
made,
remember
but
not
it's-
liking it that much.
Sure,
But
It's
I
a
wasn't
bit of a
sure whether
marmite.
that was because there was hippies in it. You know what I mean? Because those hippies, they don't care whose toes they tread on, do they?
Lazy beatniks. Join us again in episode 38 as we discuss Fargo and The Big Lebowski, a Coen Brothers
Right,
double bill,
Coen,
Jason.
I love them.
Those are 2 really good films.
They basically have their own genre of film. Because if you say to
Coen
somebody,
Brothers, yeah.
if you say to somebody, it's a Coen Brothers film, you know what to expect. The same way as if you say it's a Wes Anderson film,
Yeah.
you know what you're in for. That the themes will be different,
Yeah.
but it will be that specific type film. So you're in for that. If you like the genre of the Coen Brothers, which I definitely do.
I think that Fargo was the turning point, though, in their
What with them making really popular films?
the turning point in terms of where they've gone since, because you had
Yeah.
before that you had Blood Simple, you had Raising Arizona, you had like Hucksucker Proxy, you had
Yeah.
maybe Barton Fink and Miller's
Those
Crossing
were ones
with
that
the
I
Outliers.
weren't that keen on, to be honest.
But
I like more of their
That
more
was a
recent.
bit all over the place in
Yeah.
a way. But with Fargo you've had a pretty much straight line. I mean, I think they've both sort of gone their different ways now, haven't they? But you had you've had a pretty much near perfect run. A couple of lady killers maybe in Intolerable Cruelty where they've maybe not, but you've had it was from Fargo that you've had this kind of perfect run.
Yeah,
of sorts,
exactly. Yeah.
near perfect.
I
run.
mean, even what was it? A Serious Man, I think it was.
I love that movie.
Even that was really good.
Brilliant film.
You know, and that was a
Brilliant.
Coen Brothers film that I was like, well, this is a little one. You know, it's not a bigger.
It's a smaller
It's
one,
a
yeah.
smaller one.
Like Llewyn Davis as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I love Llewyn Davis.
Llewyn Davis is that.
Oscar Isaac
They're
is
film.
tremendous in that.
So we look forward to
It's
seeing
amazing.
that. We have episodes coming up on Predator, La La Land. There will be Phantom Threads,
Oh,
Goodfellas and Casino, and a Star Wars special. For
Yes.
Episode 50.
oh. Someone's gonna have a nerdgasm.
Okay. Do you know what? I'm just not going to turn up. And just
No,
give you
just
the,
turn it on.
just give you the mic and say.
Hello,
record
everybody. It's
it.
just me.
Just 7 hours of Jayson gushing over. Until then, I was John. He was
Jayson.
You can find us on Letterboxd and Rat Bastard.
I am Kerja_Relon.
My goodness, how do you spell that?
KERJA_RELON.
You can find us on Instagram.
Yes, Cinemattraction_podcast. We will be letting you know all the podcasts that are going up, and keep abreast of what's going on with us.
Be excellent to each other.
Thank you for listening, and if you love what we're doing, please like and subscribe.
Tell Jayson how much you love his voice.
Yeah, tell me how much you adore my silky, sexy voice.
Take it away, James Brown.
Living in America, there's nothing wrong. He judges now, he's out on love. No, not I'm out on love. Are you out on love? Are you out on love? I'm out on love. I want some nice, boy. I want to learn the music. He'll be on love. Yeah, all over Brazil. You're on top of got a brand new bag. It's a man's world, living in America. He judges now, he's out on love.